Hi, Marianne.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm going to go off camera for just a minute. I forgot to look
Okay.
at the meeting minutes.
Hi, Savannah. Hi, Brad. Hi, Melanie De Silva.
Hello.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Oh, there's Kate. Hi, Kate.
When I blur my background, I want to be blurred too. I figure, why not?
You could spread some Vaseline over your camera.
Great idea.
Always helpful. Try to be helpful. Kate's sharing something, but you're muted. So
That's how the professionals do it. Seriously, that's how you get that soft shot in the movies is you just smear a little Vaseline over there.
little Vaseline. Yeah.
Well, look, everybody's here. Everyone's here on time. I feel like this is something that we don't celebrate enough about ourselves, but we are a reliable crew. And it's pretty impressive. So welcome, everybody. I get to be the chair tonight of our October Library Trustees meeting. And a few things went around today. Apologies for the lateness on my part. And thanks, Michelle, for prompting the agenda check. So I did send around an agenda, and then Melanie sent around several sets of minutes for us to look at. So I guess we will come to order. We will give the traditional opening that this meeting is on Zoom and is being recorded, as meetings are wont to do in the pandemic. And before we get started, I wanted to check whether there were any additions to the agenda. Okay, then given that there are no additions, but that several sets of minutes came out this afternoon while people might have been working and people might not have had time, can I ask people to raise their hands if they would like to take some of the time that we gave for other business at the end now to review minutes? Would that be helpful to anybody apart from me?
And just to be clear, the May
3rd minutes are just, you don't have to read them. They're just, when we approved them last time, we have to approve them as if the meeting was May 5th, but the meeting was actually May 3rd. So, Ray said we had to reapprove them.
Okay,
Yeah, I just corrected the date on those.
okay.
So I was trying to do that. I had taken myself off the camera and I was not able to get my mail open, and I can't read it on my phone because I don't know how to download attachment. I haven't read them. I could leave
Okay.
and read them and come back. I don't know.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, because my
If
computer
that
doesn't
works
like
for
it when I
you.
have too much open.
So for those of you who were diligent and actually read the minutes already, I apologize. But I could use just maybe 5 or 6 minutes for a quick skim.
Me too. I honestly forgot between dealing with my dog and dinner. I just forgot because I worked.
Okay.
I worked
All
till
right.
like 3. So okay.
Without objection, then, if there's no objection, we'll just take from now until 7:40 to review the minutes. Thank you.
Melanie, did you get my email about the minutes?
Me?
Yeah,
Um,
I sent you an email in the last hour about the,
oh, I'm sure I did get it. I haven't looked at it though. Is it about names?
it's about a bunch of stuff and not the September and the August 29th minutes. So
Got it.
can you look at that? And well, I could also just read them out loud when everybody comes back.
Okay. Got it. Yes. Thank you.
Marianne, when we get to the library building committee, that's trying to do my work, which is report. So I prepared a little thing, but I don't imagine I know everything. So
Right, so then I can jump in after you.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you both for that work.
Is there a vacuum going on behind there somewhere?
Okay, so we are back in theory. I would like to just give Michelle another minute to come back on.
I fixed the spelling mistakes, by the way. Like the conversation committee. It's not the conservation committee.
Oh, I didn't even see that. So,
Wouldn't it be awesome if we had a conversation?
Ands, I deleted one of the ands. The next meeting is in September and not the same day. So, yeah. Thank you, Marianne. I made all those changes that you suggested.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Is the conversation committee a committee or a commission? I always get that wrong.
They are a commission. It's
A
the
commission.
Conservation Commission.
Commission. Okay.
Yeah. I'm watching for people who need to be admitted.
Okay, well, in the interest of keeping things moving, Melanie, when you're ready, could you let me know? It seems to me that we have a quorum and we have a date change, and that's the only change in one set of minutes. So would anyone like to move that we reapprove the amended May minutes? I see that
I'll
Brad
vote.
is making that motion. Sorry, Brad beat you to it. Can I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All right. We will go around as we are required to do. Melanie,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Savannah,
Yes.
and Kate. I say yes as well. So that's all of us who are here now. I do hope that Michelle will be able to come back in. So I think, I don't know, I feel like the next ones are the August minutes. Is that right, Melanie? Okay.
August 29th.
I had an edit. I don't know who else has edits. Should we wait for Michelle, do you think, given that we are changing this? Here, let me text her and see if she's stuck.
Oh, here she is.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Michelle. Welcome back. In your absence, we went ahead and approved the May minutes since that was just amending a date. And now we're moving on to any edits for the August meeting.
I didn't see anything that looked good to me.
So the only thing that I saw that I remembered was that I actually gave Mike Vinsky 2 points and I'm down as giving him 0.
Oh,
Wait a second. Sorry. Sorry, what was that?
So this was the one where we scored, you have a candidate's name and ranking bullet section.
Yep.
And I gave Mike Vinsky 2 points and I'm there as giving him 0.
Oh. Oh. You sure about that?
Yes. Positive.
All right, so now we have,
I have my version of the spreadsheet if you need to see it.
okay, so I'll just need to know what the other ones were because now he has a total of 6, but he did actually have a total of 4. So there's something, yeah, something not right there.
Yeah, I don't know, but I believe I still have the spreadsheet that I used for my individual tally. So if you need to see that, I can send it to you. Just let me know.
oh,
Okay,
here, I have all the scores right here. I knew I have it.
Okay.
So. Here we go. This is what I had for Mike. 0 from Brad, 2 from Kate. Melanie wasn't present. 1 from me, 2 from Savannah, and 1 from Tim for a total of 6.
Okay.
I didn't compare the numbers. I assumed that they were accurate. So
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only one that I saw that looked off to me.
okay.
Everything else, I'm not like pretending I have total recall or anything, but everything else jived with my memory. That's the one thing that didn't.
Oh, actually, I had Savannah down as giving Stephen Dalmas a 5, and it says a 4 here. I don't know if you remember, Savannah, what you rated Stephen Dalmas as. Oh, yeah, these numbers are really different from what I have.
Yeah, I got them from the video.
Yeah.
Okay, it may have been hard to hear.
Because for Cheryl, I had down that Tim said 0, and you have him as having a 4. Want me to check all of these before we vote on these, and we can talk about the next one or move on to whatever else we need to talk about?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then, so I had given Melanie some edits. Maybe you can incorporate the edits that you've gotten tonight and then send them out, and then we can compare them to Michelle's. And the thing is, I can remember during that meeting that it was sometimes hard to hear. But that certainly the overall sentiment was reflected in those minutes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is one of the
So it would
cases
just be
where sorry?
It would just be the numbers. Since I was chairing that meeting, I was careful to take the numbers down, so I'll just check it. And so
Yeah, to be clear, I don't think that this is like the phrase, these variances are not sufficient to change the outcome.
no,
And
it
that's
won't.
not my point.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's true, but I think your point is well taken because Mike was offended that somebody gave him a 0, as you know.
Okay. While Michelle does the work of double checking the vote counts, are there any other edits to this?
Yeah, Marianne asked that in the third bullet down, that I remove the sentence, the trustees will discuss how each trustee rated each applicant. or just like remove that sentence because it's not necessary, because it's cut like it's covered in the that's basically said again in the next bullet. And Marianne asks that, so the bullet after that, Marianne asked for an edit so that that sentence now reads, each trustee received a packet of the applicants and the rubric and read and gave a score to each applicant's letter of interest prior to this meeting.
No, so each
No,
applicant, so the word letters needs to go in the beginning of that.
okay.
Packet of applicants' letters.
Received a packet of the applicant letter of
Letters
interest. Oh, okay. Received a packet of the applicant's letters of interest.
Yes, okay.
I see. Okay. All right. So then that sentence reads, each trustee received a packet of the applicant's letters of interest and the rubric and read and gave a score to each applicant prior to this meeting.
Good to me.
Okay.
Are there any other edits or corrections?
Marianne also just made sure that I took out in the last bullet, replaced accounting firm, because it's not technically the accounting firm that had the ransomware attack, but the vendor that provides state reporting forms.
Oh,
So I corrected that as well.
okay.
And it's a ransomware, not a random.
Yeah, I fixed that too.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you
Instead of
switch,
a ransomware attack in a conversation committee, I fixed
Okay.
those.
Okay.
and then did you get the part about the building committee and Jeff Quackenbush, not Tom
Yes.
Quackenbush? Okay.
Yes, I got
Oh,
that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
It was a lot.
It
Can we
was a
just,
lot.
And I want to say, I did not have one comment about her next set of minutes, so,
this was a complex meeting.
it was.
Oh, sorry, Michelle, could you let us know
Okay,
when you're?
so the only change I saw was yours, your vote of 2 for Mike Vinsky. And Tim, can you just make sure I was correct for Cheryl? I think I had that you had a score of 0 for her. Does that sound right to you?
It's, what's in the letter here? I'm still trying to find her. Four doesn't sound right. I think I still have the sheet, but
I made a little chart. Well,
0 sounds
I
right.
made a chart during the meeting and I put the numbers next to everybody's name, so that's what I had for you.
Well,
0
that makes
looks
sense
right.
since the total was 11. If I change it, Tim's to 0, then it equals 11. So
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
the total was, yes. Okay, that was all I saw for the numbers.
Okay.
Everything else looked good to me in this one. I didn't even, I read this, I knew it wasn't Tom Quackenbush, but it's funny how some things jump out at you and some things don't sometimes, but.
Yeah,
Can I make a motion then to accept the minutes as edited?
thank you.
Second,
Awesome. All right, we will do the vote. This time we're going to start with Savannah,
yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Melanie,
yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
and I say yes, I'm Kate. All right. And we are working through this. This is great. I'm just going to feel really good to have our minutes all up to date. It's a lot of work to do this, Melanie, so thank you. Next, we are going to go to the September minutes.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Near the end, 3 bullets up from the bottom, the trustees approved sending the test. I didn't understand what
I think it's text.
text.
Yeah. Next. Yep.
Yeah, what was the text of what letter from September 26th?
It was a letter to the MBLC. I actually need that letter to attach since we voted on it.
Can you remind us what it was, Mary Ann? I'm having
It
trouble.
was a letter that explained the sources of private funding that we voted
Oh,
on at town
that's right.
meeting. And
Okay, thank you.
I will send you that letter. I'll try and do it while we're talking tonight, because I have it. I have it. So,
Oh, you read it? Could you send
actually,
the?
you know what? I
Oh.
have it on the library computer, so I'll send it to you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, and then if you could also send the building committee charge that we voted on, that would be awesome too, because I couldn't find that.
I think it's on the website, isn't it?
I couldn't find it on the website.
Oh,
The other thing regarding that same bullet that Brad pointed out, I think it should explain which letter we're talking about. And so maybe the text of the letter to the MBLC explaining the source of private funding, just so people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
That was all I had. Did anyone else have any other edits for the September minutes that we're on now?
I have a question. The paragraph that begins with the town has hired a firm called Fuss and O'Neill. Is everything in that paragraph 100% accurate at this point?
Let me pull up the minutes and look.
first sentence is a little awkward. Of that bullet that Tim's talking about.
It should be requirements for reporting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it should say reporting to whom? The DEP.
Which one are we looking at? We're looking at,
The Fuss and O'Neill.
okay.
There's one thing I would change. The last sentence. Let me make sure I'm right. Yes, the last sentence, starting wetland delineation is done, which should mean the Conservation Commission will permit further testing. I don't know if we knew it then, but I think we were waiting for the Conservation Commission to sign off. And
Okay.
I
Instead
know
of will,
it happened yet.
it could be needs to.
Yeah, good.
I do think that we knew at this point that there was a floor drain from the garage, did we not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's why it was in there.
So take
But
out,
it says may, it doesn't say.
we could just start with had.
Yeah, the garage had a floor drain.
And I have a question about the phrase found nothing of concern. Is that a quote from the testing or just someone's assessment of the results that's not a technical person?
That was what was said at the last meeting.
That would have been Mary Ann reporting on that.
I think we can say that the 3 rounds of testing have found nothing of concern on the front of the parcel. Or on the portion of the parcel contiguous with Leverett Road.
Does that include the drain area?
Yep, we've done 3 rounds of testing all around the
So I
garage.
guess I'm just wondering, because yet we're doing more testing. So is there kind of a conflict of what we're saying if anybody's reading these notes?
We have done 3 rounds of testing around the garage
hmm
and have not found anything of concern so
So,
far.
so why are they continuing the test? Might be,
They tested.
Because we're not in compliance with the DEP's procedure for closing a floor drain.
maybe we should put that in. Further testing will be done to make sure we're in compliance with closing the floor drain.
I mean, we could, but that's really the purview of the building committee, which takes its own minutes and its own notes, and that's not what was actually said. So
Yeah, I don't know that we knew that then or something anyway.
Okay.
And I have that in my director's report for tonight.
Okay.
Can I read that paragraph back just to make sure I got everybody's edits? Is that okay?
yes, please. Oh, I had one more though, just for
Oh,
verb
yep.
agreement. The 3 rounds of testing done have found nothing of concern. Sorry.
Okay.
Can't help
Town
it.
has hired a firm called Fuss and O'Neill to work on further testing on lot 032 to meet requirements for reporting to the DEP. They're going to test for heavy metals. The garage has a floor drain, and so there's some additional testing required. The 3
The
rounds of
garage
testing done.
Did you change that from had? The garage,
Had a floor drain.
it was a past.
Yep.
Okay.
The garage had a floor drain, and so there's some additional testing required. The 3 rounds of testing done have found nothing of concern on the portion of the parcel contiguous to Leverett Road. Wetland delineation is done, and the Conservation Commission needs to permit the further testing. Or further testing. Let me get rid of the further testing. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Any other concerns or edits for the September minutes?
No.
I move we approve.
A second.
All right, so we will vote. Michelle,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Savannah,
Yes.
and Kate, I vote yes. Thank you. That was a lot of work. And I'm really glad that we did that. Thank you so much, Madam Secretary. Okay, let me just look at the agenda again. Director's update. Marianne?
So let's see. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Okay, so here's what I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to start with the Family Fun Fair. So the library organized a Family Fun Fair on October 16th from 2 to 4 p.m. Under the pavilion at the Shutesbury Athletic Club, and it was tons of fun. Volunteers set up and staffed Lego and art tables. The fire department brought a fire truck and a rescue truck. Community connections were made and fun was had by all. Let's see. And I just want to highlight that program because that program was because families are craving programs and opportunities to gather and make connections. And it's the type of thing that would have been fairly common before the pandemic and is really special now. And in some ways it's really, and I wish you could have been there. It was like a festival or a giant party with, young parents and 1 to 12-year-olds even. And it's what it's why we're building this new library, you know, and it's what I wanted. It's what I wanted to happen when I applied to be the library director 15 years ago. So, and it feels really nice to do normal things like that. And I'm really appreciative of the Shutesbury Athletic Club for letting us use their pavilion. They've been wonderful. So the Conservation Commission, I'm going to jump back in time to the Conservation Commission, and I'm going to make sure that I have the date right because I don't think I do. Okay. So on October 13th, the Conservation Commission met, and there were two items related to the new library on the agenda. The first was an ANRAD, and an ANRAD is a process that confirms the wetland delineation for 3 years. So a wetland delineation has been done, and ANRAD is capital A, capital N, capital R, capital A, capital D. And I can look up what those letters stand for and email it to you, Melanie. But it's a process where the Conservation Commission reviews the wetland delineation and confirms the delineation, and then it's good for 3 years, which is the longest amount of time that any wetland delineation is good for. And so any future work, since there are a fair amount of wetlands on Lot 032, any work that's done in the next 3 years, having this AMRAD done will help facilitate any work that needs to be done or will be done on Lot 032 in the next 3 years. So the Conservation Commission voted to do a third-party review of the wetland delineation because once this AMRAD is done, the wetlands are considered sort of set in cement. The delineation is cemented. So they're going to do a third-party review. They've hired, so since then, so they continued the hearing to their next meeting, which I think would have been this Thursday. Since then, they've hired the third-party reviewer, and they've scheduled a site visit where that third-party reviewer will come out and walk the site. Our wetland delineator from our wetland scientist from Fussin O'Neill will be there. And then their third-party reviewer will give them a report. Her name is Emily Stockman. She'll give them a report, and they have scheduled a meeting on November 17th, which is an extra meeting of the Conservation Commission to tentatively complete the ANRAD. So that's moving forward. And that's what we expected to happen at the Conservation Commission. And since then. So also during that same meeting, after a lengthy discussion, the Concom permitted the environmental testing and that the town has hired Fussin O'Neill to complete. So for the underground injection control program, which the town is working on becoming in compliance with, Fussin O'Neill is preparing a UIC, so underground injection control is UIC permit application to submit to DEP. DEP will permit the work, and then, so they'll approve Fussin O'Neill's plan for testing before they actually complete the testing. So that's in process, and I expect to see that permit application, a draft of that permit application tomorrow. And then regarding the location of the former radio tower where OTO found chemicals commonly found in gasoline last summer, Fussin O'Neill is working on scheduling the drill rig that will do the borings around where the radio tower was. And there are no wetlands with tower, but the drill rig will have to travel over wetlands to get there. So there's a plan to protect the wetlands while that's happening. And the Conservation Commission has permitted all of that work. So that's all I have to say now. I will have more to say after Brad gives his building committee report. Okay.
I'm going to throw myself in the queue to add just a couple of things. One is that ANRAD stands for Abbreviated Notice of Resource Area Delineation. And the other was, I can
Could
say
you
that
repeat
again. Yeah, abbreviated notice
that? Abbreviated notice. Okay.
of resource area delineation.
Thank you.
So in this case, the resources are the wetlands. Okay. And I also wanted to say I went to that meeting. It was almost all of it. It was pretty clear to me that the concern about the wetland delineation was not really about methodology. It was more about that it's really hard to do a good wetland delineation during a severe drought. And that's what I gathered. Marianne, is that what you understood as well?
I do think that was part of the concern.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything?
One other thing that I forgot to say. The Friends of the Library annual meeting is this Wednesday at 7 p.m. So, and it'll be on Zoom. The Zoom link's not posted yet, but it'll be posted on the library website on the homepage before the meeting.
Marianne, just a heads up, I have to go to Boston tomorrow to help a friend that's having some surgery. So I'm not going to be able to attend that meeting. The friends.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. I'll let them know.
Okay, thanks. And
Any other? Sorry, I beg your pardon, Tim.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Any other questions for Marianne about the director's report? It's just so lovely to hear about the fun fair. Brad, are we able to turn it over to you for building committee?
Sure. Since we met last, the trustees, on the 26th of September, we've had the library building committee in one form or another has had 6 meetings that I at least kept track of. 2 of them were regular meetings of the committee and 4 were related to selecting the owner's project manager. That was really our focus over this last month. We did some other things, but we started with 2 pre-qualification meetings that Marianne set up with firms that were interested in applying. I went to one of those. And then we had 2 meetings of the subcommittee that was of the subcommittee of the library building committee to rank candidates and to select which ones we wanted to interview. And then we had interviews. There were 3 candidates. I thought they were all interesting and fascinating, except that one of them we didn't feel like one met our requirements. So we took that candidate off the list, invited the other 2 for interviews, did the interviews, reviewed our ranking the next day at our regular meeting. And the intention was to come up with a slate, not a candidate, because as somebody along the line, the comment was made that you might not get your first candidate. And so we ranked them in the order we felt was important. And I'm going to rely on Marianne to tell us who those people were. And it was a very busy time, a very busy month between now and then. I have two shout outs that are related to that. One is that I took minutes for one of those meetings. That is hard work. So my hat is off to Melanie for the exemplary work she does all the time with minutes. Just having done my own, it's so clear that that's an art. And the other is, I felt like, boy, the work I, as a committee member of the library building committee, just felt like it never stopped. Well, this is nothing compared to what Marianne is doing. So again, my hat is off to Marianne. She just is keeping things going, and I want to always mention that. I'm just so pleased. So there you have it, and I'm sure there's more details that should be added.
So I'm gonna just say my husband and I went up to Vermont on on Saturday, for a long weekend that we had planned to leave on Thursday. So I feel like it was a major accomplishment to get out of town for 2.5 days, and we did it. So as we were driving back today, I was thinking about all kinds of things, but I was thinking about all of you and all the work you've done. I mean, some of you for years, right? And like we have accomplished something, and we are accomplishing something. So I had, just a moment of appreciation in the car as my husband was driving, for all of you. So I wanted to share that. And then, so we, at that meeting last week, we ranked the candidates, and then the next step is that the town goes into contract negotiations with the highest ranked candidate. That is Construction Monitoring Systems, and the principal is a man named Neil Joyce. So Becky and I represented the town in a Zoom meeting last Thursday, and we talked to him for quite a while, and then we decided that we needed to do some research. Becky and I needed to do some research. So it's really a negotiation where they send you a proposal, and the town has a scope of services and a dollar figure in mind, and then you're trying to meet, you're trying to meet through negotiating. So we plan to meet again tomorrow, and Becky and I did some research about the scope of services. So I consulted with another library director who recently completed construction of a small library project, and talked to them about the scope of services that their owner's project manager provided. And then I had a meeting with Lauren and Andrea and talked to them about the scope of services and the value of a owner's project manager and the costs of owner's project managers. And then Becky and I checked references. So that had Becky speaking to some decision makers in Franklin County towns that have employed this firm, and I spoke to another library director. So we are going into our meeting again tomorrow, and at 11 a.m. And we'll see, and we hope to come closer together. So that's where we are now. And let me look at my notes and make sure I said everything that Brad and I didn't say, and I think that's it. Okay. So,
Tim's had his hand up.
Marianne, was that the people you're talking to now? Was that the second ones interviewed at that last meeting? That had done, I think we're working on a library in Portsmouth or.
yes. Yes.
So that's the one you're talking to now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What's the
Michelle,
name?
go ahead.
Yeah, just what's the name again? Construction, what?
Monitoring systems.
Okay. And what libraries have they worked on before?
Great Barrington,
Uh-huh.
Hopkinton,
Mhm.
Hopkinton. I don't know why I can't say that. And they're currently working on Gloucester, which
Okay.
got their funding this summer.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions about the building committee, the owner's project manager, the amazing work that's going on?
We talked about that being completed by October 31st. Does it look like that will happen? The final
The contract signed. So I think it's still quite possible. You know, we had, so the select board meets on Wednesday. I don't know if it got put on their agenda because we hadn't, so, but the select board is often willing to schedule an extra meeting, you know, especially when it's going to be something quick, like signing a contract. So the select board signs the contract. And then we have a draft contract, which is, you know, like, I don't know, it's a lot of pages, and it's a lot of sort of similar language over and over and over again. But I read it all last week, and then there was some work, and that's really Becky's work to do, you know, to write that contract. So I still think it could be. So we have to, you know, negotiate again tomorrow, and you know, which I'm very hopeful that we, and then, you know, that we'll come to an agreement, and then as long as we come to an agreement tomorrow, then we'll finish getting the contract together, and that, you know, and that a select board meeting would have to be scheduled 48 hours in advance, at least, to be in compliance with open meeting law. So that's enough time to read the contract again and put in, you know, it's just a little bit of changes, not a lot of changes.
You don't have to answer this question, but do you feel pretty good about this group? Is your gut feeling?
But construction monitoring systems, yes. Yeah, I feel like they're highly qualified.
Great, thank you.
Anything else on that before we move on? Okay. So we have a FinCom meeting in December where I believe, Marianne, this is preparatory to the fiscal 24 budget. Anything you'd like to tell us about that before we, anything you'd like to tell us about that?
So I just thought it was important to just say it, and I don't, so though that date is at the library, and I haven't been at the library yet, but it's in the middle of December. And so I just wanted to sort of have us be aware. My goal is that that at next month's meeting, at the November meeting, we can approve the budget so that, and you know what? So I think, my goal is that we approve the budget at next month's meeting so that it's ready for that December meeting. So I'll work on that for a week and schedule a meeting with Brad. And we'll go through the budget together. And then send that out to all of you before next month's meeting. But in the midst of all of this other stuff, the regular library business is happening too. So, and it's gonna be a lot, and I'm gonna have to repeat it all out loud. And I say it out loud, and I write it down, and I put it in my calendar, and you know, it'll be fine. So the one other thing that last month I mentioned that I do a monthly report to the Board of Library Commissioners, and you asked if they were public, and they are now posted on the small library. Oh, actually, I think they have their own page on the website. And then if you go to the library building committee page on shutesbury.org, there's a link to those reports. Okay, so those are now public.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else before we wrap up today? Apart from determining our next meeting time. All right, well, let's set our next meeting time. This would be in November. How do we feel about the 14th of November?
I'll be gone from the 13th to the 21st.
Okay. How do we feel about the 21st?
Doesn't matter. I'm open.
Sorry?
I'm open. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay, anybody not able to make the 21st as things stand right now?
I need to check my flight reservation real quick.
Yeah, that's okay. We know you can't make the 14th. Maybe you can make the 21st. We'll hope so. Okay, so let's schedule the 21st. And then I have a question about how I have a thing I would like to raise in executive session. And I don't know how to do that on Zoom because Marianne's the host.
So if you want to have an executive session, that has to be posted ahead of time.
Yeah.
And you could talk to the town clerk. So an executive session where I'm not there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could talk to the town clerk or Becky. Okay.
I don't really want to discuss it. What my agenda item, it's obviously not anything that I hope obviously not anything that should concern you, Marianne, at all. But could I ask that we consider the first 15 minutes of our next meeting, maybe the first 20 minutes of our next meeting as executive session? There's something I would really, really like to raise with trustees.
So you would need to talk to Becky.
I can do that.
And get the reason for the executive session, and that would have to be part of the meeting posting. So,
Okay.
which is fine. You know, it would just be Mass General Law, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I haven't even had a chance to consult with my co-chair about this yet, and I kind of like to do that a little bit, just to. But if this all is kosher and approved, and we get the help we need from town hall to set it up, then we'll send an agenda accordingly. Okay. No objection.
My flight on that day gets in to Bradley fairly late, so I would like to be at that meeting. Any chance we could do the meeting on a Tuesday night?
It's a good question. Anyone object to the 22nd Tuesday?
No,
I don't know if there's any other conflicts. But
works for me.
I see no concern. The next meeting of the trustees will be Tuesday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Marianne. We will see you then. Cheers, y'all.
Okay.
We are
bye.
adjourned.
Good night,
Bye,
all.
everyone.